Roswell incident remains the most well-known UFO event in history.
Firing blindly at unidentified objects in the sky.
From the famous to the obscure, these UFO crashes will make you question your beliefs in extraterrestrial life.
This object, whatever it was going a little bit in excess of 24,000 miles an hour.
We are talking the Roswell incident, J-Rod, the Mosul Orb, and many, many more. Ready to have your mind blown? Let's dive in. Number 1. Tic Tac UFO. On November 14, 2004, the crew on a U.S. warship about 100 miles off the coast of San Diego picked up something bizarre on their radar, a flying object hovering at an incredible height, at super low speeds, and changing directions in ways no human aircraft could. At first, the weapons systems officers brushed it off as a glitch, but after rebooting the system and still seeing it pop up on the radar, they knew it was real and alerted a Navy pilot who was already in the air. Which one is cuter? Like for the dog comment for the cat. The pilot reported the aircraft as a tic-tac shape, behaving in ways that defied the laws of physics. It dropped from an altitude of 30,000 feet to almost sea level in less than a second. When the pilot tried to chase it, the thing just vanished, like it hit light speed or something.
This object, whatever it was going a little bit in excess of 24,000 miles an hour.
For years, this strange sighting was kept under wraps, but eventually, the videos recorded by the fighter jet's infrared camera were leaked, and the Pentagon had to officially release them. According to the pilot's estimate, this oval-shaped UFO was around 40 feet long, with no wings, and once it realized the military was on its tail, it disappeared without a trace. Number 2. Mojave Triangle UAP. In 2021, over 50 people reported seeing a black triangular aircraft hovering above a U.S. military base in California. In the footage, you only see the lights, but witnesses are certain those lights were coming from a dark, mysterious UFO. The government tried to cover it up, saying it was just flares, but Marines who were there told reporters that flares only last about a minute. These lights stayed in the same spot for a solid 10 minutes. Number 3. Spectacular show. On October 11, 2018, around 6:45 p.m., the night sky over parts of China and Mongolia lit up with what looked like a massive torch. For about 2 minutes, this mysterious object streaked across the sky, creating bright rays and a glowing mist. Some said it wasn't aliens, but a new top-secret Chinese hypersonic rocket. However, the Chinese government didn't confirm any testing. While some experts claimed it looked like a rocket's trail, if you look closely, the mist seemed to glow on its own. During the day, sunlight can make vapor trails shine, but it felt otherworldly. With governments around the world holding tight to their secrets, who's to say this isn't some new tech? Or maybe, just maybe, the Chinese have been chatting with aliens, and this time they slipped up and let us catch a glimpse. Number 4. Mexican Air Force. In March 2004, while on the lookout for drug smugglers, the Mexican Air Force recorded something straight out of a sci-fi movie. They spotted more than 10 glowing orbs flying in formation. When they tried to follow, the orbs began to disappear. The strangest part, only 3 of the 11 orbs showed up on the radar. So, the idea that these were drug-smuggling planes doesn't really add up. How could human technology not show up on radar? And why would drug smugglers be flying in such a tight formation that even trained military pilots couldn't keep up? The Mexican army actually released this footage themselves, hoping the scientific community could investigate. So far, no one has been able to provide a solid explanation. Whatever those things were, they weren't your average human technology. Number 5. Farmer Find. In April 2024, Canadian farmer Barry Sawchuk and his son were working their 10,000-acre field just like any other day. The farm had been in their family for 5 generations, but then they stumbled upon something strange, a piece of debris weighing about 100 pounds. Now, finding junk on his property wasn't all that unusual, but this object, it was scorched all over as if it had entered Earth's atmosphere from space. Experts were quick to label it as part of a SpaceX aircraft, but SpaceX never claimed responsibility. And here's the weird part. Most man-made spacecraft burn up and vaporize upon re-entry unless they're specifically shielded. So how did this large chunk survive? Fast forward 3 months, and 2 men showed up, claiming to be SpaceX employees. They paid an undisclosed amount for the wreckage, took it, and left without saying a word to the media. So, were they really from SpaceX? Was the debris even from one of their aircraft? We don't know for sure. There's a good chance it was a piece of a UFO, and some secret agents swooped in to take it away before anyone could dig deeper. Number 6. Pyramid UFOs. LA-based filmmaker Jeremy Corbell has been documenting and investigating UFO phenomena for a while now. In 2021, he leaked a video from the USS Russell, recorded in July 2019, off the coast of San Diego. The video showed a pyramid-shaped UFO flickering in the sky. The Pentagon confirmed it was the real deal, an actual video taken by a US warship. This is one of the clearest pieces of evidence that UFOs might be real. I mean, no known drone or balloon can hover at that altitude in the middle of the ocean while lighting up like that. So, what did the government say besides confirming it was legit? Pretty much nothing. Honestly, it's time they start telling the public what they really know about these UFOs. Videos like this show military pilots encountering crafts with technology way beyond anything we've got, and it's happening more than ever. Number 7. Shot down. In mid-February 2023, mysterious UFOs began popping up along the US-Canada border. One by one, they were shot down by the US Air Force. Authorities quickly recovered the wreckage and assured the public that these weren't alien technology.
And no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns.
But they weren't exactly sure what they were either. The official story, they might have been spy balloons. But if that's the case, why would the US bother shooting one down over Canadian airspace? The government is sticking with the spy balloon explanation for the time being, but it seems like there is more to these UFOs than they are letting on. Number 8. Nellis Air Force Base. Back in 1995, before the sky was crowded with satellites, cameras from Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada captured something really bizarre. These light-sensitive cameras make the night look like day. And while that shiny object you see might be the moon, keep your eyes on the unidentified object moving in a totally erratic pattern. Now remember, this was the 20th century, so the footage isn't crystal clear, but the radar readings were enough to baffle everyone. This thing was covering huge distances in just a few seconds. It's one of the first times that we know of that military equipment captured something suggesting an alien spacecraft. And where was this video recorded? Nevada. Do you know what else is in the Nevada desert? Area 51. Maybe the aliens came back for J-Rod. Or could it be that the US military managed to reverse engineer an alien craft and was testing it out? Number 9. Nighttime raid. Just 2 months after the Pearl Harbor attack, Los Angeles went into a citywide blackout. Why? Because radar picked up an unidentified aircraft near the city. The silent night soon erupted, with searchlights sweeping the sky and air raid sirens echoing everywhere. Thinking the Japanese were launching another attack, soldiers spotted something in the sky and fired off a barrage of anti-aircraft rounds, over 1,400 of them. But when the firing stopped, nothing showed up on the radar, there was no wreckage, and no bombs were dropped. So what did the army actually see?
The original photograph, the light beams appear to converge upon something in the sky, but what that something is cannot be discerned.
Some say it was just mass panic, but others are convinced they saw something. If it really was aliens, well, let's just say we didn't exactly roll out the welcome mat. Number 10. Swarm and splash. The coast of San Diego seems like a UFO hotspot because yet again, a US warship, this time the USS Omaha, had a close encounter with unknown objects on its radar. These mysterious objects flew alongside Omaha for 2 hours, and one of them, a glowing orb about 6 feet in diameter, was caught on camera. This orb kept pace with the ship before suddenly diving into the water. Now, did this UFO crash, or does it have some advanced tech that lets it slip underwater to avoid detection. This footage is also one the Pentagon declassified this video, but only after it was leaked. Makes you wonder, how much more evidence are they keeping under wraps? Number 11. Lunar crash. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter orbiting the Moon recorded something odd on March 4, 2022. A rogue rocket crashed into the far side of the Moon, leaving a double impact crater. That's extremely unusual because when something crashes into the Moon, it almost never creates two distinct craters. This unidentified rocket hit the surface at about 5,700 miles per hour, and the twin craters were clearly visible side by side. Why is that a big deal? It suggests the rocket had two large masses at its ends, whereas most human-made rockets only have one big mass at the motor end. The US quickly pointed fingers at China, claiming it was their rocket, but China didn't confirm or deny it. And no rocket from any country has ever created a double crater like this before. So, could this have been an alien spacecraft crashing on the Moon? Number 12. Roswell incident. 2 years after World War II ended and the Cold War was just kicking off, a rancher named William Brazel stumbled upon some strange debris scattered across his property in Roswell, New Mexico. Curious, he called up the local sheriff, who quickly got the Roswell Army Airfield involved. The Army recovered the debris, and on the 8th of July, 1947, they even issued a press statement claiming to have discovered a flying disc. One of the flight engineers on the rescue team even said it was a flying saucer. Naturally, the media went crazy. However, the Army shifted its tune the next day, giving a new statement claiming that it was only a weather balloon. Really, they expect us to believe that seasoned Air Force engineers couldn't tell the difference between a UFO and a weather balloon they worked with regularly? Seems fishy. With the Cold War heating up, it's pretty clear they didn't want news getting out that something otherworldly was snooping around. And if you still think it was just an innocent mix-up and the conspiracy theories are a stretch, you should hear what Jesse Marcel had to say in 1978. Marcel, the first military officer assigned to investigate the Roswell crash, revealed that the Army's weather balloon story was a total cover-up. He believed that the debris they found was something not of this world. And if that doesn't raise some eyebrows, there's still no public info about where the debris was taken. Sure, the government says it was from a weather balloon, but no one knows where it ended up or what tests they ran on it. Kinda suspicious, right? Number 13. Welsh Roswell. On January 23, 1974, a massive bang, followed by a brilliant flash of light and a shockwave, shook a small village near Berwyn Mountain in northeast Wales. It was late in the evening, and the whole village felt it. The Ministry of Defense eventually dismissed it as a natural seismic activity that just happened to coincide with a meteor falling. But the villagers, they weren't buying it. They said the shake didn't feel normal, and they saw strange lights in the sky before and after the explosion. To this day, the people in the village are convinced that something not of this world visited Berwyn Mountain that night. With witnesses rejecting the official explanation, this event has become a hot topic for UFO enthusiasts, often called Wales's own Roswell. In 2010, the National Archives declassified documents related to the case, showing that even the Ministry of Defense struggled to explain what really happened. The files revealed that just a few hours after the explosion, strange lights were seen in 3 other counties as well, something they couldn't easily brush off with another convenient explanation. So, with the government staying tight-lipped, it's unlikely we'll ever get the full truth about this Welsh Roswell. But as far as the villagers and UFO hunters are concerned, an alien craft crashed into those mountains, and the government managed to cover it up. Number 14. Kingman crash and J-Rod. Not as famous as Roswell, but according to Preston Dennett, a field investigator for the Mutual UFO Network, the Kingman UFO crash is one of the best verified in the US. The story goes back to May of 1953, when 40 scientists were taken to a crash site where leaked documents say they found a 30-foot wide, 3.5-foot high, oval-shaped disc that had plunged 20 inches into the ground. One of those scientists, engineer Arthur Stansel, determined the craft had hit the ground at 1,200 miles per hour, yet it was undamaged. Strange, right? Well, it gets more bizarre. The documents also described the aircraft as being made of some unusual metal, and get this, next to the craft was the body of a supposed pilot, around 4 feet tall, dressed in a metallic suit. For years, the public knew nothing about this crash. The truth was covered up. A recently leaked communication between Christopher Mellon, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, and another anonymous U.S. government official provides proof of that. They talked about the Kingman UFO retrieval, hinting that the public would be completely floored if they knew what really happened. Number 15. Red Planet Mystery. From the edge of the solar system, Earth is just a tiny pale blue dot, and it's not the only rocky planet in the habitable zone. So, if visitors from beyond were to swing by, wouldn't Mars be a likely pit stop? Well, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, might have caught something suggesting that aliens had an unfortunate visit to the red planet. Though the MRO has been mapping Mars since 2006, it wasn't until 2021 that someone noticed what looked suspiciously like a UFO crash site.
What looks like the trail of a crashed UFO is actually an ancient geologic crack in the surface of Mars.
The images show 2 parallel lines leading to something half buried in the Martian surface. And if you look closely, the object resembles a disk, definitely not something humans sent to Mars. Lucky for us, there are no secret agents on Mars yet, or this could have been whisked away to a Martian Area 51 before anyone even had the chance to speculate. Number 16. Mosul Orb. In April 2016, a US military spy plane was recording an active conflict zone over Mosul, Iraq, when the camera caught something odd. A strange metal orb moving in eerie, irregular patterns. This video, also leaked by Corbell, was later declassified by the Pentagon, along with the famous Tic Tac UFO videos. NASA even got a team together to study the footage and figure out if this was alien technology or not. After nearly a year of analysis, NASA came out with a very convincing explanation. They said, it's not alien technology, but they also have no idea what it is. Seriously, how can you be so sure it's not from outer space if you don't even know what it is? Seems like the government tried to brush it off by getting NASA to say it's not aliens without offering any real explanation. Number 17. Russian finds. Back in 1991, geologists were searching Russia's mountains for gold deposits, but instead stumbled upon a jackpot of mysterious fragments. At a depth of 30 feet, they found tiny metal coils and springs scattered in the dirt. It was odd to find something like that in such a remote place, so they took the debris back for further study. When they examined it under a microscope, they were stunned. These nanoparticles were something humans are still working to develop today. Scientists confirmed that these nanoparticles were artificially made and likely part of some kind of machine. Even more intriguing, they were made from tungsten and molybdenum. Incidentally, the same metal fragments found at the Roswell crash site. Some experts suggest that this debris could be from a space probe sent by another civilization, which might have crash-landed in the Russian mountains thousands of years ago. So maybe aliens have visited us before, and after looking around, decided they weren't that interested. Number 18. Over Antarctica. If aliens wanted to set up a base on Earth and avoid human attention, where would they go? Antarctica seems like the perfect spot, a continent full of ice with no permanent human settlements. A retired naval engineer who kept his identity secret shared some strange experiences from his time working there. He and his crew saw silver darting objects zipping from one mountain peak to another, but that wasn't even the weirdest thing. During a medical emergency, they flew over a no-fly zone and stumbled upon a giant hole in the ice. Their instruments started glitching from some magnetic anomaly, and suddenly they were confronted by men in suits. Not the kind meant for extreme cold, but regular office suits. These guys warned them to never fly over that hole again and to keep quiet about it. So, what was the deal with this hole? An entrance to a secret alien base? Or something so classified that even the military personnel stationed there didn't know about it? Number 19. Torture droid. A group of Spanish goat farmers were going about their day when they stumbled upon something unusual in the middle of a field, a black metallic which had no business being there, so everyone was certain it came down from the sky. Authorities were called in, and after carefully taking the orb in hazmat suits and placing it in quarantine, they determined it wasn't radioactive. What's really wild is how much this black orb resembles the ITO interrogator droid from Star Wars, the little torture device used to extract information. Experts suggested it was probably a pressurized gas chamber that fell from a space station, designed to survive re-entry without burning up. But no space station has reported a missing gas chamber. So, could there be a Death Star lurking around and this orb just fell off? If so, we might be in some serious trouble. Number 20. Jellyfish. In January 2024, Jeremy Corbell leaked yet another UFO video, this time from a US base in Iraq. But this footage showed something truly bizarre, even by UFO standards. The object wasn't visible to the naked eye, like it was flying with an invisibility cloak, captured only by special equipment. It looked like a jellyfish, just hovering above the base. Corbell claims that in the full footage, this UFO actually dips into the water for a few minutes before flying back out. That part of the footage hasn't been released yet, but what we can see shows that whatever this thing is, it's clearly being intelligently controlled. Of course, the Pentagon came forward to deny any alien connection, but skeptics are calling it a cover-up. They argue the government knows about these strange UFOs, and military personnel run into them more often than we realize. What's worse, this leaked video is 6 years old, so they've probably had plenty of time to figure out what's going on, but they're still keeping us in the dark. Number 21. Morning surprise. Fox 6 News was doing a live stream from a rooftop camera showing off the city lights just before dawn, but they ended up capturing something way more interesting: a swarm of UFOs flying erratically across the sky, leaving everyone, including the reporters, totally baffled. They tried to make sense of it, but the odd patterns and dust trails just added to the confusion. Some people tried to brush it off as seagulls, but if those glowing UFOs were seagulls, then they were probably from another planet. Number 22. Millennium Falcon. In 2013, a satellite captured something strange, sitting in the middle of nowhere. And when you zoom into the image, it almost looks like two Millennium Falcons, the iconic spacecraft from Star Wars, have landed on Earth. Now, no, the government isn't using Han Solo to smuggle alien tech across the galaxy, but whatever this thing was, it definitely had some alien vibes. Number 23. UFO attack. UFO sightings happen all over the world, but there's rarely a story about them attacking humans except for one. Thomas Pretzios, an experienced NPD pilot and flight instructor, took off from Mobile, Arizona on October 23, 2002. Just a minute into his flight, he radioed air traffic control about another aircraft nearby. Soon after, he started panicking, saying something was coming for him and that he had to deviate. Then, radio silence. Minutes later, his plane crashed. When authorities arrived at the crash site, the wreckage was scattered over 200 yards, almost like it collided with something and disintegrated. Number 24. Baseball stadium. In August 1950, a baseball team manager was checking out an empty stadium before a game when a bright flash caught his eye. He spotted two silvery objects flying and rotating over the city. This was 7 years before humans launched any satellites into space, so the skies were clear and regular aircraft didn't fly that close to each other. Plus, according to the witness, there was no sound, definitely not fighter jets. Since this happened before the era of social media, the news didn't really make it beyond the city, but whatever that manager saw wasn't something made by humans. And that wraps up our journey of spotting strange aircraft on our planet and beyond. Do you think governments know about aliens and might even be working with them? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.